All right, good evening, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. Before we start, I'll give everybody an opportunity. On the screen, there is a QR code. Rather than sending around a sign-in sheet, we're asking everyone to actually scan that code. That code will take you to a sign-in sheet. We ask that you fill that code out. It also gives you an opportunity to request a copy of this presentation, which will be emailed out to you. All right. So we'll go ahead and get started with our agenda for tonight. Obviously, we will be discussing our crime numbers for the second quarter of 2024. Those numbers will surround the dates of April the 1st, 2024 until June 30th of 2024. And then we'll also go over our numbers for year to date. We also have for you a 3-year comparison of our homicide numbers, in addition to some individuals who are currently wanted as related to previous homicides that have occurred in the city. I will give a brief update on our Portsmouth United initiative as we continue to move forward. I'll highlight our staffing and recruiting efforts. We will talk about some of our uniform patrol initiatives, our ongoing community engagement issues, and then our last slide will be question and answer session, which we will also encompasses a community survey. That survey, I ask that you do the same. It's a QR code. Please scan it. And honestly, I'm looking for honest feedback. So here's the thing, what about surveys? A lot of times people want to feel like how they're doing. When you do a survey, there's always the risk that you're going to get hammered based on what people think about how you're doing with your efforts. But to be honest, if you don't know the issues, you don't really have an opportunity to fix them. So I ask that the citizens take an opportunity to scan that code and help us improve as a police department and as a city. All right, so we'll start with our crime numbers for the second quarter. We're concentrating on violent crime. Again, these numbers are compared to April 1st until June 30th of 2024. Obviously, we experienced 6 more homicides during this time period than we did from last time period. Those homicides ranged from everything from a individual attempting to rob a store to a domestic issues, and also a attempted robbery that we had as well. As we continue to try to navigate the shootings and violent crime in the city, that represented for us the largest increase over that time period. You'll also note with that as well, we also had a significant increase as it relates to our shooting into occupied buildings, which are also classified as an aggravated assault. However, we still were able to muster a 6.22% reduction in violent crime over that time period as it relates to the time period last. I will still like to commend the citizens for their continued efforts to partner with us. They have been, you all have been great with assisting us with information. Again, if you see something, say something. And we like to just thank you for continuing that. However, we still need more information to assist us with addressing our most violent issues. As we move on, we'll address property crimes. Our property crimes, as you will see, we're experienced about a 22% reduction in our property crimes at the same time as it relates compared to this time last year. Our commercial burglaries for us represented a significant increase, along with our burglaries to storage facilities. These would be, it could be one incident where one individual went in and broke into 4 or 5 storage sheds at one particular time, but they still counts against us. As it relates to our commercial burglaries, we've been having a series of burglaries throughout some of our commercial properties where we've had people break into businesses overnight and are stealing cigarettes and things of that nature. Obviously, this is something that we continue to address primarily on our night shifts. There are some other cities that are facing similar issues. We cannot say at this point in time whether or not it's the same individual or anything of that nature. So we asked if any citizens are out late evenings and they see anyone that is suspiciously hanging around businesses, we ask that you please call the police. Let us know, be good witnesses. Obviously, we don't want you to engage, but what we do want is you to be a good witness. Pay attention to clothing types, body descriptions. If you see any vehicles that the person may or may not be, that doesn't quite look right in that particular area, and please pass that information on to us at the police department. You also see, which is something that we're actually rather happy with, we've had a significant reduction in our larceny from motor vehicle parts. You'll remember about a year and a half ago, we were on the opposite end of that as it related to people stealing catalytic converters. Obviously, we continue to ask individuals to make sure that you're locking your vehicles up. We've also had a reduction in motor vehicle theft, and that is significant for us as well. We continue to try to address these issues as a police department. So the second quarter of our overall numbers as it relates to violent crime and property crime, we experienced a total of a 19.8% reduction. Again, our biggest driver of our numbers that are affecting us right now is the number of homicides that we've had in the city. And so, we have everything from neighborhood disputes, domestic, but also random shootings that are occurring from what we categorize as individuals' inability to conflict resolute their issues. So again, we ask that you continue to partner with us as we try to navigate through these issues. For our year-to-date overall, and this is January 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2024. Overall, during that time period, we've had one additional homicide as it relates to where this year compared to where we were this time last year. In every other category, we've experienced a significant drop except for a few anomalies such as forcible sodomy. We did have when you see infinity, that is, there was no number to compare that to as it relates to a increase. So at this time, as you'll pay attention to the second column at the very bottom, where we've had 2,181 incidents compared to last time this year. Last time we had 2,713. So there's a reduction in the fact that these incidents are actually taking a significant drop. And again, for us, that's relates a 19.8% reduction for us at this time. So if we ended our year today, we would have almost a 20% drop in crime overall. Now, when we look at our homicides, and we compare January 1 to July 31st for the last 3 years, you'll see that our numbers each year have increased 23, 25, and 27. You also see that for the most part, and last year we had a good year so far as clearance rates as it relates to our overall solvability of our homicides. This year, right now, we're on track for about a 44%. We're tracking about 44% clearances for homicides. Now, if you are aware, homicides are very, very hard to solve, in particular, as it relates to by the time officers get there. Sometimes you've had items moved, you've had witnesses leave the scene, and of course, at that point, it's time for the detectives to try to locate evidence or witnesses who are willing to come forward and tell actually what happened. A lot of that information sometimes is hard for us to come by. But what I will say, one of the things that has helped us tremendously is our technology that we've invested in. Our flock cameras, LPRs have helped us tremendously. And I'll be talking about that a little bit more when working with some of the area chiefs to kind of be a little bit preemptive. As you know, within the state legislature, there has been some conversation about our use of LPRs and the big brother conversation. I will say for the city of Portsmouth, the LPR cameras have been a game changer for us. They literally give us an opportunity when we don't have a witness to a scene to be able to at least give us the possibility, based on the information that we may have gotten, to be able to hopefully develop a suspect. And so I think that the major issue that we are hearing about that is not only the amount of time that this is stored, which is currently right now it's stored for 30 days, and it's stored by the company, not us as a police department. But also there's conversation about us having to potentially have a search warrant for its use. And like I said, we'll talk about that in the coming weeks, months to address that. I'm working with several of the area chiefs, to include Chief Newdigato in Virginia Beach, Chief Howell out in Smithfield, because again, our cameras all link together. And so just last night we had a carjacking vehicle out of the city of Virginia Beach that came into our city, and we were able to at least recover the vehicle after a short pursuit. But that vehicle, right now we're looking for suspects associated with that. So as you look at our numbers in between, what you'll notice from the graph here, you'll notice that each one represents how many we had each month during that time frame. In 2023, in the month of February, which was a very rough month, we started out January, February with 15 homicides last year during that time. As you'll notice, when you compare that to 2024, we were down, but our next 2 months of March and April trended us up in a negative direction. Over the last several months, up until this past month, we were noticing a reduction in the number of homicides that we've had. So again, these continue to be challenges for us. Homicides are crimes that are very hard to, let's be honest, they're not something that a police department can prevent unless you are aware of some type of preemptive information beforehand. Generally, if you have an officer on the corner, that person is not going to necessarily pull a gun and shoot someone in that officer's presence. Does not mean that person won't wait until the officer leaves that area or actually go around the corner and commit that crime. We spend a tremendous amount of time talking about homicides because obviously there's a loss of life associated with that. But we also know that there are other crimes that we have that contribute to our overall, not only image of the city, but also our overall feeling of safety within our area. So all of them are equally important to us as we try to navigate through bringing down our crime rate and improving our city. So I'm going to highlight a couple of individuals who are currently wanted for homicides within our city. Ms. Faison is wanted for a homicide that involved 2 individuals last year out in Dale's home. She is 33 years old and has been on the run for quite some time. She does have active warrants. We're asking if anyone has seen her, knows her whereabouts, or is able to help us locate her. We're asking that you please call the police department, or you can remain anonymous and call our crime line. Mr. Harmon is related to a homicide that took place last year as well in August of 2023 on County Street. He also has active warrants. And again, just as previous, we're searching for any information as to where this individual may be. Mr. Clark is wanted for a homicide that took place on May 19th of 2024 in our Victory Boulevard corridor. He has several warrants, 2nd degree, 3 counts of aggravated assault, 2 counts of use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and shooting into an occupied dwelling. If anyone knows his whereabouts, sees him, please make sure that you reach out to us with any information, and again, you can remain anonymous. Now, I'll give you an update on our Portsmouth United initiative. You'll remember a couple of weeks ago, 2 council meetings ago, I gave a public works session update as it relates to Portsmouth United. Portsmouth United is a community-based violence intervention and prevention initiative that was started within the city. It brings all stakeholders, whether you be clergy, nonprofit, police, city entities together to tackle our overall crime issue. It creates a ecosystem of public safety. Public safety is everyone's responsibility. And so one of the things that we were given through a grant from the state was we were given about $2.8 million to assist with not only some things that the police department would like to initiate, but also to support our nonprofits as they continue their efforts to try and do work in some of our more challenging areas. In June, we rolled out several mini grants applications and allow individuals to apply for grants. Those individuals, we had about 25 applicants. Not all of them were nonprofits, and after some extensive background and research on those individuals to include a public interview, we narrowed that down to about 23 individuals that we will be funding with about $1.5 million worth of grant funding. And so those individuals, we're in the process of providing award letters to them as it relates to their program initiatives, but we're going to spend a lot of time not only partnering with them, but we're also going to be tracking for some ground, I guess, base levels for each one of them as it relates to what they can do for us. If that individual that they're working with is a student, we want to know whether or not that kid has had any behavioral issues. We want to know what type of grades that they make. We want to know when's the last time they've been suspended from school. We want to know as much about them as we can. And so the hope is that a year from now, we're able to see where those dollars went and what type of progress we've made with helping some of these kids. Did their grades improve? Did their behavior improve? Were we able to help them find employment? And again, these things are all important as we try to address our issues within the city. Portsmouth United is an ongoing effort. We look to start our weekly meetings hopefully in the month of September. We also are hiring additional violence interrupters, which this time I believe the plan will be to actually have them assigned to neighborhoods. The reason behind that is with them assigned to neighborhoods, we're better able to gauge their effectiveness as opposed to having them spread out all across the city. Having one person working in one particular area addressing some of our challenges will be better for us to be able to track and not only provide them resources, but find out some of the challenges that they're having and how we can help to support them. Lastly, there's a coordinator that is going to be overseeing all of this as the coordinator for the Portsmouth United Initiative. That person will be tasked with bringing all of these entities together and allowing them to providing them information that we hope will make everybody more educated as to what the issues are. So moving along, we'll talk about staffing. As you know, staffing has been a challenge for us for quite some time. I can say we are making some improvements, and that is something that we're actually happy about. When we compare our first quarter staffing to our staffing from the second quarter, you'll notice that we have had a decrease in our vacancies. You'll notice that from the officer, there's a total of 75 vacancies in our first quarter. Right now we have approximately 63 vacancies. I believe we have a pending resignation for an individual that is going to be relocating. What you see here is our most recent class that graduated in June of last month. I believe there were 20 of those individuals. Unfortunately, we've lost about 2 of them. Just one this week turned his resignation in. We understand that this job isn't for everyone. I think some folks have a thought process that this is a little easier than they think. And sometimes when the reality of what we do day to day starts to set in, we also know families can be pressure points for individuals when their loved ones are leaving, going to protect and serve. Some individuals just say, you know what, there are a lot easier things to do than being a police officer. So we understand that just because we hire 25 doesn't mean at the end that we're going to have 25 or 30 that's going to make it through. So we understand that, and we continue to navigate through that. Currently, we have 11 people that we just sent to the police academy earlier this month, and we have about 12 individuals that are in various stages of the background process right now. So some of the initiatives that we are working on from our Uniform Patrol Division. Uniform Patrol for us is the backbone of the police department. These are the individuals that answer the calls for service each and every day. And so making sure that those individuals are staffed properly, that we're responding to the calls in the most effective manner and utilizing our resource is a priority. My captain that's assigned to Uniform Patrol, Captain Bennett, is responsible for a lot of these initiatives and right now is doing an analysis on how to ensure that Uniform Patrol is working more effectively. So one of the things that we're looking at is how much time we spend on certain calls. One of the things that we realize is that we spend a tremendous amount of call time on minor traffic accidents. And so these things represent a big drain on time for police officers. We're also looking at initiatives such as, does a sworn police officer necessarily need to respond to a minor traffic accident? Is that something that can be turned over to someone else? There are departments across the country that based on staffing challenges of finding sworn police officers, have looked at other alternatives to hire civilians, what we call professional support staff here in our city. So we're exploring possibilities of being able to do that and what that looks like. In addition to those, we spend a tremendous amount of time on medical related calls. Some of those calls can be anything from mental health calls, but some of them are calls that don't necessarily rise to a police related emergency. However, for safety of our peers in the fire department, we respond to assist them as well. And so a call that may be a cardiac arrest, where a individual is suffering maybe a potential heart attack, based on the area and some of the things that may be going on in that area, our medics sometimes call for police assistance. And so that takes an additional person or persons for us to be able to respond and assist. These are the things that some of you may not know that police officers are having to spend time with, that are doing. And those represent a tremendous amount of calls for us as well. We currently have, in our efforts to implement the Marcus Alert as mandated by the state, we do have 2 CRT teams that have started to take calls as it relates to mental health, and those are starting to pay some dividends for us, and so we're happy about that. But again, those are just some of the challenges that we face. We're also studying our what times are our peak times for call volume. We currently run 2 12-hour shifts. And so we're looking at, there's always a gap somewhere, because at some point in time, based on vehicles, based on folks having to come to work and get off work, there's generally going to be a dead zone that's in there. And so we're looking at how to lessen that dead zone by creating a different, what we would call a power shift, where we would still have a certain amount of officers available to respond to calls, in particular our higher priority calls, that so that oncoming shift doesn't have that large backup of calls waiting for officers to hit the street. Some of the other initiatives that Captain Bennett and his supervisors in patrol have implemented is currently you may see them in your communities as a group doing what we call lineups. These are briefings that they have before they hit the street, where they're being educated on what might have taken place the prior shift, but also getting marching orders, for lack of a better word, of any tasks that they may have for the day, or any persons that they may be looking for, anything that's going to be of importance to help them do their job and keep them safe. We're also been utilizing our modified or light duty officers. These are officers that, for whatever reason, are not able to work the street in a full capacity within uniform. They still are a police officer, but they may have an injury, they may be dealing with something on a personal level, and so, but they still have some ability to be able to assist us. So we've been putting them in our virtual reporting unit. Through our use of Fuchsias for our real-time crime center, that they have the ability to do a face-to-face with you over your cell phone. And so that person will send you a text message and invite you to a room, and then you and that person can have some dialogue as to what your call is. Every call doesn't necessarily need a face-to-face officer to respond. Sometimes you may have a question, you might not be quite understand a policy, you may need a police report taken for an item that may have been taken, or even setting up a director patrol. All those things can fall within our virtual reporting unit. And lastly, you may have noticed a lot of our police cars, even during the day, riding with their steady lights on, their red and blue lights. This was implemented as a deterrent. Obviously, we want to let people know that we are in the area. and we want to for folks to see us coming. We want to make sure that people recognize a police car when they see one, and so we're hoping that this is effective. If nothing else, we want folks again to recognize that there was a police car that just went, or there's one coming up the street. There are always concerns about whether or not that puts targets on us as officers, but again, that is part of the job and part of the initiative that we're trying to do. So we'll move on to talk about some of our ongoing community engagements that we're doing. And when school let out in June, we started back up our police athletic league, athletic and activities league. We've been doing this for a number of years right now, and this is one of the things that we do to engage with our youth. Across the country, especially in departments up north, police athletic leagues were very instrumental in building strong partnerships between police and young people. And so we've been doing this now for almost 7 to 8 years, if I'm not mistaken. And currently our base camp is at Craddock Middle School. And so we run a camp and we take our youth out to various events throughout Hampton Roads, field trips, but also there are opportunities for us to develop some important relationships and mentorships, and for them to see us in a different light than just within this uniform, in hopes of building some lasting relationships. You'll see this was a bowling opportunity they went to here recently with a number of our youth a couple of weeks ago. Some of these other ones, this was the jump zone, I believe they call it, in the city of Virginia Beach, where we took some of our youth to attend. You'll see at the bottom a recent trip to the zoo, and this one right here on the very right is our kids visiting our very own children's museum. A lot of good opportunity just to interact and to build those relationships. These things go a long way to formulating future partnerships and breaking down some barriers. Now, another initiative that we recently embarked upon, you'll notice over here is our, recently we received, took receipt of some e-bikes. And we've always ridden bikes for a number of years, but these e-bikes are amazing. You may have seen us riding them already. We got about 14 of them, and we're looking to expand the number of bikes that we actually have. These bikes let us cover a tremendous amount of ground and not tire the officer out with riding. And so it's an alternative to them being in the vehicle. But you can literally ride to Churchland, but if an officer has a call that's downtown, you can actually, those bikes get up to about 35 miles an hour, and you can get to a area and still have the ability to respond. I rode a regular bicycle from Craddock to Prentice Park for an officer that had done a clear the air, basically was calling for any officer to come and assist. Well, thankfully, other officers beat me there, because by the time we got there, I had nothing left to give them anyway because, of that ride. But I can tell you, riding this e-bike in the way that is formulated, it will definitely give us an opportunity to get there. You'll notice this bike has lights and sirens. You'll see us riding through the area with them. So it's actually a good opportunity for us to get them and very much to be visibly seen within the community. A lot of the police officers really, really like them. We've started to do some additional training for for them in hopes of putting more of them on the bikes, and we're looking at actually purchasing some additional ones. I believe so yesterday we had a maximum uniform deployment where we had as many officers as we could and put them on the street. And so we had some of these bikes riding through the neighborhoods last night. And so you may have seen them. So that's what those are. They are very, very good as it relates to patrol and to visibility. Out of that came an idea for a summer bike initiative that was started. And so every Saturday, we pick a community, we're partnering with the civic leagues, and we're saying, hey, we're going to be in your area, please come out. And we're encouraging the individuals within the city to come out and ride with us. Our first bike ride was out in Parkview. Last week we were in Prentice Park. This week we will be in Cavalier Manor, and I think the week after we will be, they just told me today, forgive me, but the week after we'll be. So if you are part of the Civic League and you're interested in us coming to your area, where we're going to come regardless of whether you want us to come or not, but we're asking for you to come out and ride with us. It is really a good opportunity for us to engage again in a non-police function, but get out, see your neighborhood, talk about some of the issues that are going on, better educate your officers, but also just get out and get some exercise. So we'll be doing this every Saturday throughout the summer. Last, but certainly not least, is our National Night Out, and I'll let the video speak for itself.
This fiber powered internet.
Of course, I can't do anything about the commercial. Hey Portsmouth, are you ready for?
Are you ready for the best family-oriented celebration in town? National Night Out is back, and this year's event will be bigger and better than ever before. Come celebrate 41 years of police and community partnerships, fun, and freebies at National Night Out 2024. We will be at the Portsmouth Pavilion's Festival Park and Plaza on Tuesday, August 6, 2024 from 3 to 8 p.m. Come out, meet your neighbors, interact with Portsmouth police officers, and find resources you're looking for at Portsmouth's very own National Night Out celebration. Our event is free and open to the public. Speaking of free, we're giving away free cotton candy, popcorn, and snow cones all night long. Been stressed lately? There will also be health screenings from Bon Secours and Centera. There will also be dozens of vendors in attendance with free information, resources, and giveaways for you to take home. And don't forget about the mascots. They'll all be in attendance and ready for photos with the family and the kids. If you happen to come hungry after getting off work, no problem. We'll have the best selection of food vendors for you to choose from. There'll be plenty of parking in the Water Street and Middle Street garages. So bring the family, get ready to have fun with the Portsmouth police officers at the hottest and greatest National Night Out party in Hampton Roads. We promise it'll be a night you and your family will never forget.
So thank you all. Thank the video team for such a professional video. They do some great work for us in putting these videos together and highlighting our efforts of what we attempting to do with the community. If you've never been to a National Night Out, I encourage you to come. It is really a good time. It is really a good opportunity to kind of build some new relationships, maybe open up some old relationships that you might have lost track with over time, especially after COVID. But it's a good opportunity for you to get out, see the city, lots of vendors, lots of food, fun. Mr. Moody, I think you're getting in the dunk tank this year? Okay, so Mr. Moody is gonna get in the dunk tank. And so it's a good opportunity. So please come out and enjoy. Again, it's on Tuesday. It ends at 8 o'clock. It's at Festival Park right beside the pavilion. Just a very good time to be had by all. All right, well, thank you all for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. For those that, again, I ask that you fill out the survey and share that survey as well. But for anybody who signed in and requested a copy of this, we'll make sure we get you that copy starting tomorrow, okay? Again, thank you all.